October 29th, 2018. Lion Air Flight 610 vanishes from radar 13 minutes after takeoff. 5 months later, Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302 follows the same path. 346 lives. The world blamed a software glitch, a faulty sensor, a system called MCAS. But software does not write itself. What brought down the 737 MAX was not a coding error. It was a chain of decisions that started years before either plane left the ground. In December 2010, Airbus announced the A320neo, a fuel-efficient update to its narrow-body workhorse. Within months, a surge of over 1,200 orders presented a market threat Boeing could not ignore. Developing an entirely new, clean-sheet aircraft would take 5 to 9 years. To defend its market share, Boeing rejected that path, launching the 737 MAX on August 30th, 2011. The commercial pressure became the technical constraint: build it fast and make sure pilots did not require expensive flight simulator training to fly it. As one engineer recalled, the internal mandate was simple. It was go, go, go. Boeing chose speed over design. To match the fuel efficiency of Airbus, Boeing needed the larger CFM LEAP 1B engines. But the low ground clearance of the 737 airframe forced engineers to mount these engines forward and higher on the wing. This geometry change altered the aerodynamics, creating an unwanted nose-up pitching moment at high angles of attack. To resolve this aerodynamic issue without a costly physical redesign, Boeing introduced a software patch, the Maneuvering Characteristics Augmentation System, MCAS. This system relied on a single angle of attack sensor to automatically push the nose down. The FAA certified the aircraft on March 9th, 2017. The design compromise was complete. 18 months later, in October 2018, the first MAX crashed, followed by the second in March 2019. In 1997, Boeing merged with McDonnell Douglas in a deal that functioned as a reverse takeover, replacing traditional engineering values with an aggressive focus on stock prices and cost cutting. The new chief executive, Harry Stone Cipher, stated his goal clearly. When people say, "I changed the culture of Boeing," that was the intent, so that it's run like a business rather than a great engineering firm. Boeing soon moved its corporate headquarters from the manufacturing hub of Seattle to Chicago, physically separating executives from the factory floor. Engineers on the line felt the shift, widely viewing the Boeing 777 as the company's last engineering-first aircraft. From then on, financial metrics took priority. This new corporate culture directly shaped the development of the 737 MAX. During contract negotiations, Boeing's launch customer, Southwest Airlines, secured a penalty clause. If the Federal Aviation Administration mandated simulator training for pilots transitioning to the MAX, Boeing would have to pay Southwest a rebate of $1 million per aircraft. With hundreds of aircraft on order, that single clause turned a financial risk into an absolute engineering boundary. Every technical choice had to protect the promise of avoiding simulator training. To bypass the simulator, Boeing had to present the MAX as identical to previous 737 models. The business imperative became the technical constraint. Inside the program, employees recognized the danger of prioritizing speed and cost over technical integrity. In internal messages later released to investigators, one employee asked another, "Would you put your family on a MAX simulator-trained aircraft?" "I wouldn't." Another worker summarized the project in a single blunt sentence: designed by clowns, supervised by monkeys. On August 18, 2015, a Boeing flight control engineer warned colleagues in writing that because MCAS relied on a single angle of attack sensor, the architecture created an unacceptable single point of failure risk. This was the precise point where the trajectory of the aircraft's design could have been corrected. Instead, the warning met a silent dead end, logged, discussed, buried. The engineering team's concerns were actively contained, ensuring that the critical safety gap never reached senior executives or external regulators. The people who needed to know were systematically kept in the dark. The technical issues persisted. In November 2016, Chief Technical Pilot Mark Faulkner sent a series of urgent instant messages to a colleague after testing the aircraft systems. In these communications, recreated from public records, he revealed that MCAS was running rampant in the simulator on me and warned that the plane was trimming itself like crazy. Shocked by the discrepancy between the simulator and what he had been told, Faulkner wrote, "So I basically lied to the regulators unknowingly. These incriminating communications remained locked inside Boeing for 3 years, shielded from the Federal Aviation Administration." Rather than pausing to resolve the simulator failures, Boeing went a step further, stripping all mention of MCAS from the primary pilot manuals. Flight crews were left completely uninformed, flying an aircraft with a hidden hazard they did not know existed. Under the FAA's Organization Designation Authorization, known as ODA, the regulator increasingly delegated safety audits to the manufacturer itself. In practice, this meant Boeing employees were certifying Boeing aircraft. Direct FAA oversight of the certification process plummeted from 32% to just 13%, while Boeing's self-certification authority climbed from 68% to 87%. The consequences of this missing assurance became clear after the Lion Air disaster. On December 3, 2018, the FAA completed a transport airplane risk assessment methodology report. The calculations were stark. If the MCAS defect remained uncorrected, the model predicted 15 additional fatal crashes and 2,921 deaths over the lifetime of the fleet. Despite this severe projection, the regulatory response was to keep the aircraft flying. The FAA issued an emergency directive allowing the global fleet to operate, while Boeing worked on a software fix scheduled for release in 10 months. The institution judged this an acceptable risk, balancing commercial continuity against safety. 3 months later, on March 10, 2019, Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302 took off from Addis Ababa. Within 90 seconds of departure, a faulty sensor triggered MCAS. The cockpit instantly filled with the sound of multiple conflicting alarms and the violent rattling of the pilot's stick shaker. 4 separate times, the software commanded nose-down stabilizer trim, driving the aircraft toward the ground. The crew struggled against the heavy controls, trying to pull the nose up while executing the emergency runaway stabilizer checklist. They disabled the electronic trim motors as instructed, but extreme aerodynamic forces made the manual trim wheels physically impossible to turn. The crew followed procedures. The procedures were not enough. The trajectory of the 737 MAX program is not an isolated case in modern engineering. It reflects a broader structural pattern of organizational failure. In Germany, the construction of Berlin-Brandenburg Airport turned a major public works project into a multi-decade crisis, driven by unrealistic timelines and constant design changes. Project leaders ignored systemic warnings about an unworkable fire safety system. The complex automated smoke extraction system failed basic safety tests, actually pumping toxic smoke into the terminal rather than removing it. This technical failure resulted in a 14-year delay and a €7 billion budget overrun. Similarly, in the United Kingdom, the National Health Service launched its ambitious National Program for IT in 2002. Designed to create a unified national healthcare database, the program absorbed £10 billion before its termination in 2011. The initiative collapsed because it lacked a sound business case and planners failed to consult the clinicians who would use the system. These distinct failures, along with the MAX, map precisely onto three systemic breakdowns: incentive misalignment, broken escalation, and missing assurance. In each program, external pressures compromised the core design from the beginning. Mid-level managers systematically contained critical warnings, while weak external oversight failed to identify the accumulating risks. The people involved in these disasters were not incompetent. They were highly qualified professionals operating inside systems that made catastrophic decisions look rational in the moment. Subscribe for more in-depth industrial investigations. Today, the pressure to prioritize speed over design exists in every complex industry. The MAX remains a warning of what happens when market metrics silence technical truths. Until organizations value warning signs over near-term targets, these silent failures will continue. Subscribe for more investigative analysis.